Hi there, greetings and salutations. My name is Jake Query.
We opened on the two-shot? Sorry, that was weird. It threw me off a little bit. There was the divider. Sorry, it was like, whoa. it was just close. It was close.
You're not even supposed to pay attention to the monitor.
We usually open on this one. Okay, so
we can do this.
Yeah,
again?
let's run it. Actually, let's just can we run the whole Query and Schultz thing again, Vince? Mm-hmm. Can we do it?
Okay, here we go.
He's so mad at me because the Pacers lost last night. He's in a bad mood. He's cranky.
1. Hi there, greetings and salutations. My name is Jake Query.
Hi, I'm Derek Schultz.
And this is the incredibly creatively and appropriately named and charitably award-winning Query and Schultz program on the ISC Sports Network. Now in episode number...
Put me on the spot.
185. Greg?
85, I think. 5, yep.
185. Here is the thing. Episode number 185, you might be noticing if you're watching on ISC Sports Network or if you've heard our voices, if you're listening on the podcast, that means that Derek and I both have arrived for episode 185. That makes us different than Tyrese Haliburton in Game 1 between the Pacers and Knicks.
We're gonna be mean. To start, we're gonna be mean. I mean, we could be mean. There's a lot to be mean
about. I like
about.
Tyrese Haliburton. He's a wonderful guy, seemingly. I don't know him well, but he seems to do all the right things, and a tremendous talent. But he has regressed since the All-Star break. I don't know if that's a health issue. I don't know if that's a not used to stardom issue. I don't know what it is. But the bottom line, Derek, is that when you are at this point in the playoffs, every team has a guy that says, get the hell out of the way. I'm taking over this game. And Indiana is paying or about to pay Tyrese Haliburton like that player, and he has yet to be it.
Yeah, your stars have to shine. That's just kind of the bottom line. That's maybe a simplistic way to look at it, but it's true. In the NBA playoffs, it's a stars league, and it's about the stars. And he not only was Tyrese Haliburton not good enough last night, he wasn't in the same zip code as good enough. Every single Pacer last night had a stretch where you know what? Let's do this because this is a very Jake Query thing to do, but I'm gonna be Jake here. All right, give me a Pacers player from last night, and then we'll determine their grade. It doesn't have to be a letter grade. You could just say, okay, good, great, whatever. All right, Aaron Nesmith last night. How would you categorize Aaron Nesmith's game last night?
I love Aaron Nesmith. He had a huge dunk that was, first off, that dunk
was insane.
Right.
Yeah.
But he just defensively, I think, is Johnny on the spot. Look, they had trouble with Brunson. That got guys in foul trouble. But I think Nesmith, you would give him the grade of a B. He was very good.
Yeah, see, I'd go like C+. Okay,
that's fair.
But still, like, whatever.
He was average, Aaron
Nesmith
sure.
was okay, right? Pascal Siakam.
Now, let me ask you this, Derek. Are we going by their contribution in the game, or are we setting the curve at what their maximum is?
I want to go contribution in the game. That's what I want to do.
C+ for Siakam.
Yeah, same for me. Like, he was okay, and we could talk about that. Like, I didn't think that he was great last night either. Miles Turner.
A-.
Yeah, I was going to say B+. Yeah, but Turner played a good game, I thought. Andrew Nembhard.
B.
Yeah, okay. I was going to go more.
I like his defense. He hits shots.
C+.
The thing I like about Andrew Nembhard, Derek, is that he hits shots that are not orchestrated for him. Like when the shot clock's kind of running down, if the ball's in his hands, you feel pretty good about his mid-range game.
The rest of the bench, I think you would give straight A's. Would you not? McConnell, A. Toppin, A.
I give Toppin an A- for missing and getting back on defense after his dunk.
Isaiah Jackson, I'd give an A+.
Agreed.
He was terrific last night. Ben Shepherd, I'd give an A.
Yeah.
What will you give Haliburton? It was an F, right?
Yeah.
So every single person
Derek,
that played, like Pacers played 9 guys last night. Every single person that played had a passing grade except for your star. Like he was the only player. He was their worst player on the floor last night. And it's not just
TJ McConnell. Did you say
him?
him?
TJ McConnell A+.
A+.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not just that he struggled and he was a non-factor. It's that he was a net negative. And you just can't have that and expect to win while the other team's star in Jalen Brunson was his usual self.
And I don't know, Derek. I'm hesitant to go here, but I'm going to, okay? I don't think this is the case. I don't. Mm-hmm. But if you are doing a trial and you're presenting all possibilities, I think it is safe to say, or hope almost, you never hope injury on a player, but I hope that's the explanation here.
Oh, God, me too. Because if it's not, then the Pacers have big problems.
He has to be hurt, I would assume.
Yeah.
But I want to be very clear that what I'm about to say is something that people have attacked me before for being like too negative. And I don't disagree with that. This is me simply presenting all possibilities and being an overly critical thinker, okay? But I said, and have said before, that Victor Oladipo and Paul George, which are the precedent and the standard by which Tyrese Haliburton is measured in terms of oh wow, we've opened up a gift box here and it's this rising star. Those two guys they had not been stars before, and they came out of areas, even though Oladipo had played at Indiana, he was not a big recruit, and so they didn't know how to handle that. Paul George just figured it out, but in Indiana he didn't know how to handle it.
No, you're right.
I have 5%, but I do have concern that Haliburton, everything that came his way, the max contract, the host of the All-Star game, the going around and being everywhere, and the Woj podcast, selling tickets to it and everything else, that all of it came too quickly for him. And now all of a sudden, being a fashionista was really important, and other things detracting away from the basketball player. I don't think that's the case, but I don't know that at this point that we can conclusively dismiss that he just doesn't know how to handle at this point in his career, Madison Square Garden, New York Knicks, playoffs, spotlight. I think he's hurt. But if he's not, then you have to go to, well, then what is different? And the only thing that is different now than at the beginning of the season is the amount of expectation and label on him.
Yeah, he is hurt, right? He's hurt.
Where though?
That's the only the back. Maybe he rushed back from the knee, whether it be because of the All NBA team or whatever. I mean, clearly that timetable was rushed. Remember, he came back.
Well, it wasn't knee; it was hamstring, wasn't it?
Or yeah, whatever. The leg injury that he had. That looked a lot more serious than you thought. They really kind of dodged the bullet, but still, it ended up being an injury. He hasn't been the same player since then. I think the fact that he's risen this quickly to being a superstar and a prominent player is part of the equation, but I think it's the health that is the big issue. That said,
I think you're right. I mean,
people that are like, well, you're being unfair. It's big boy time, man. You get your contract. You're on the JW Marriott. This is big boy basketball. Guess who else goes through this? Jason Tatum. Jokic went through this, right? LeBron went through this. And I'm talking, maybe a different level of basketball player. Joel Embiid goes through this. This is what comes with the territory. You want to be a star, you get judged like a star, fair, unfair, whatever else. And I just think last night, if you're going to be out there and you're going to play, then there are expectations attached to that play. No one is asking Tyrese Haliburton to score 40. No one is asking him to be – he's a different player than Jalen Brunson. The Knicks asked Jalen Brunson to do different things than what the Pacers asked Tyrese Haliburton to do. But you can't come out and go 6 points and have a team low in points and a team high in turnovers. Can't happen.
3 turnovers in the final 4 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a critical situation. And we'll get to the officiating too, because the officiating deserves the criticism that they're getting. But you just can't have that type of performance. It's inexcusable to have that level of play.
Here's the one thing that I love about it. Okay? Haliburton had a putback that they said didn't count and it should have counted, right?
Well, it turned out that he was out of bounds.
That's right.
Is what it was. Yeah. So the shot clock was right, but
they had several free throws where it looks like the guys are stepping over the line before.
Josh Hart had one that was pretty blatant. Yeah.
Brunson had a few as well.
Yeah.
Hartenstein had the 60-footer at the half that you look back and you go, I know. But it's 3 points, right?
No, you're right. But it's a come on. I'm not waving you off. I'm waving the shot off.
Right. Yeah. Brunson crashes into Miles Turner at one play, and it's what do they call it?
It's a foul, and they reviewed it and they said it's not. I mean, it's a foul. It's a letter of the law.
The moving screen technically is a moving screen. Stan Van Gundy said it best. You never see that called, but DiVincenzo sold it well.
You can call that 10,000 times in a game.
And then, of course, the Neesmith.
Yeah, the kickball, the phantom kickball.
Kickball, yeah. What I love about it is everybody that says, see, this is why I don't watch the NBA. I'm not watching. I'm not going to watch. It's rigged. I'm not going to watch. I love it because what this does is it rallies everybody together, and it's 1994 all over again of we are the small market hillbilly dismissed, the fix
us
is
against
in,
the world.
us against the world, baby.
Yeah.
And this city has for 2 decades been waiting for the city to rally together around the Pacers. And they thought Paul George was going to do that. And they thought that Victor Oladipo was going to do that. And they thought that Tyrese Haliburton was going to do that. And you know what does it better than anything? Close games in New York against the Knicks. It's not losing to the Heat. It's not losing to the Pistons. It's losing to Gotham and the New York Knicks. And the Knicks suck, right? And I was a Knicks follower for a few years there and kind of grew to like them. And I watched it last night, and it's been a long time since I've been like emotionally invested in a game. And I'm like, I hate these guys. I hate the fan base. Not really, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. All of it. Hate it. It takes me back to 1994. The Knicks suck.
Yeah. I moved here.
Oh, no. They suck again.
I moved here in 2001. And the first thing that I learned was how to get to Right Quad Food Court at IU.
Yeah, you gained a bunch of weight, right?
No, because Ann broke up with me that year, and then I lost like 30 pounds, and I was smoking a lot.
Weed, right?
Just relax. Let me get to my point. And then the second thing that I learned was the Pacers actually never lost a playoff game, ever. Not to the Bulls, not to the Knicks. Not to LeBron and the Heat. They never. It was the refs. Right. I mean, that's it's like one of those Indiana baptisms that you learn what happened. But I get why it wasn't just Pacers fans complaining. Nate Duncan, who's a national NBA, he complained about it. Bill Simmons complained about it.
I saw like Knicks fans that were like,
Knicks fans were saying, "Whoa!" Like, I can understand why a completely objective observer would look at the Brunson overturn. And then look at the Miles Turner screen and be like, are we doing letter of the law here or not? Because letter of the law, the Brunson foul was kind of a soft call, right? But letter of the law, it's a foul. And so I was shocked that they reviewed it and overturned it because letter of the law, it's a foul. He initiates he makes body contact there. And letter of the law, the Turner call is a foul. But you can make that call 10,000 times during the game. The thing that lost them the game, the call that lost them the game was the kickball. It's a 5-point swing. Pacers had a run out. That's 2 points right there. And instead it turns into DiVincenzo 3. A tie game turns into a 3-point deficit. That's a big moment there. So we could talk about, the Pacers defense was completely lackluster in the fourth quarter.
Why didn't
they lost themselves on the glass? There were a lot of bad things that the Pacers did, especially in the second half.
I can't recall
but those calls are
were they out of reviews on the kickball play?
They can't review it. It's not reviewable. Kickball's not reviewable.
Okay.
Don't ask me why, because I have no idea. Why in the world would that not be reviewable? Why would you draw the line there?
It was reviewable when Haliburton threw the ball off of Brunson and he threw it back to Haliburton, or the out of bounds skirmish that was reviewable.
Yeah, but
and that went to Pacers' favor.
This was a straight kick ball. This wasn't an out of bounds call. This was a straight kick. And they say that kicks are not reviewable, and it just drives me crazy that you review all this stuff that is a human judgment call, like you and I are going to see it differently. Any person's going to see it differently. Yet a kick ball is black and white. Either you kick the ball or you did not kick the ball.
Right.
So why wouldn't you leave that open to review? I don't understand for the life of, and I didn't see an explanation as to why the NBA doesn't review those. I mean, you don't see kickballs a lot, right? I guess in critical moments, but still, like it's shocking to me. So, I hate that the narrative, if you will, kind of got in the way. But Pacers fans have the right to be upset with how that went down. I don't believe in league-wide conspiracies. This is a league where the Milwaukee Bucks and Denver Nuggets are 2 of the last 3 champions. This is a league where the Minnesota Timberwolves are the talk of the town right now. If the league was truly scripted, the Knicks wouldn't go 51 years without winning a title,
Is
right?
Jalen Smith hurt?
No, I just don't think that they like him as much as I think they like Jackson's ability to step out and block shots and do all that.
He averaged 22 minutes a game against New York in their 2 wins.
Yeah.
In the regular season.
I think they like what Jake, it's a good roster. And I think you have to make some hard decisions. You can't play 12 guys. You can't play 11 guys in the playoffs. You can't. That's not a winning formula. And I think Carlisle's decided that Jackson's his guy for this series.
I do like Isaiah Jackson. You know that, right?
Yeah, me too. And he's kind of toughed it out. You know what I mean? Like he's
a good player.
Young. He's a good
player.
They drafted him. He was 19 years old, and I think he had a good start, and then he kind of fell back, and the foul trouble was a real concern. But I think he's grown into a nice NBA player.
He was a second pick, correct?
Yeah, he was traded for. He was like a pick in the 20s. I want to say 22, 23,
right.
Something like that, by the Lakers maybe, and the Pacers traded for him.
Okay.
They traded for the rights to and
Correct.
had the Lakers take him. Yeah,
because you realize that the year that they took Aaron Holiday, that Jalen Brunson went like 25 picks later.
Yeah.
Who was a really good college player.
Yeah, it happens. And TJ Leaf went before OG and Anunoby.
Yeah.
A couple picks before. And, John Collins has fallen off a cliff, but he's been a far better NBA player. Anybody's been a better NBA player than TJ Leaf. But at the same time, Pacers almost drafted Frank Kaminsky instead of Miles Turner, and TJ McConnell was at that same draft workout. And look at where McConnell is, and look at where Turner is, and look
Brunson,
at where Kaminsky is.
I talked to Mark Monteith about this, and he made a really good point. Brunson worked out for the Pacers, and they loved him. But when Brunson worked out, he had a travel issue where he had to come in, and he worked out on his own, as opposed to in a group setting with other players. And I think that gave them, they weren't sure of where he
I vividly remember Ryan Carr on our old radio show and him raving about Brunson, and I was like, because the consensus with Brunson was that, yeah, he could be a good backup point guard in the league. He's a winner. He provides that mentality to your locker room. Kind of the platitudes that you give. Yeah, this guy doesn't really have a chance. And Ryan Carr was talking, I don't think anybody knew that he'd be dropping 40 points a game in playoffs, right? Like that,
right.
No one, that's a pie in the sky projection. But I remember specifically Ryan really liked Brunson and thought that he was good. He said something like he's going to be a good player in this league for like 15 years. And I was like, if he's a good player in the league for 5 years, I mean, you know what I mean? Like right. I thought he was kind of not a great athlete and slow. And I thought he was like an upgraded version of Aaron Kraft. That's what I thought about Jalen Brunson, honestly. He's a great college player, right? It doesn't all translate to the pros. And, God, I mean, he's changed the Knicks franchise.
Oh, I mean, I talked yesterday to a friend of mine, Paul Kelly, that works for IndyCar and lives in New York, and he's a huge Knicks fan. And he said, Jake, he's the most popular Knicks since John Starks and Ewing, since that era.
Yeah, because even Carmelo was never fully embraced like that.
By the way, speaking of former Knicks, one of them had a dynamic play in Game 1, but not for the Knicks, but against them. It takes, I think I could say this on this podcast, right? Ahmad Rashad in the Winning Time documentary talks about Reggie Miller stepping back for 3 in the 8 points in 9 seconds game. And he says it takes huge
testes.
And he's thinking for a second, and then he just goes, balls to step back, right?
Hold on. Vince, can we say that? You sure?
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable. Let's grab that in post. Do that again, but say testes, because that's the actual term. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Ahmad Rashad, 3,
it
2, 1.
takes huge
testes.
Balls. That's how he says it.
Okay, well, you did it again.
But I'm quoting him.
Yeah, okay. It's. I guess it's a streaming show and a podcast, I guess.
But to go on in a playoff game in Madison Square Garden against the New York Knicks. Now, I do have a complaint about what happened afterwards. But for Obi Toppin, who's an uber athletic, and he's a good player. He's become a really good shooter, right? But the breakaway dunk and to go in live action, mind you, between the legs and throw that down. Derek, that has to be our Love That Play, correct?
It is.
Brought to you, by the way, by Love Heating and Air Conditioning. Love-HVAC.com is their website. 317-353-2141. You hear us talk about love all the time, and we do love them. Not just because I grew up with Chris and John and their dad, Phil, who is generation number 3 of the 4 generations deep of a family-owned business, but the fact that I know what they do for their customer base because I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it when they came out to Shannon's house. I've seen it with people that we've sent them out to take care of them. They say, man, those guys were great, and they were honest. And, oftentimes I'll come out to do a cleaning or a check, and they say, no, you don't need a whole new unit. You need this part. That's the kind of honesty and integrity you want from a family-owned business. That's what you get from Love Heating and Air. 317-353-2141. 24-hour on-call maintenance. Fabulous. heating and air conditioning product and great knowledge and price of the product. But, Derek, that dunk from Obi Toppin between the legs has to be. I love that play. I just wish he would have gotten back defensively.
Yeah, he is. Is he the greatest athlete that the Pacers have ever had?
Kenny Williams would be up there.
I just think, and I don't want people to take this the wrong way. Every generation is different, and you have to be able to appreciate things in the era. But when we talk about, like, how the game has changed and how it's kind of apples and bowling balls, like Obi Toppin, for the most part, is kind of like a bit player, right? Like a bench guy and all that. And he's really grown this year, so maybe he's going to have an expanded role. I'm not sure. The athleticism of players this generation, it is incredible. I mean, Obi Toppin makes Gerald Green look like me. And Gerald Green was a sick athlete that the Pacers had, 10, 15 years ago, however long ago that was. I mean, he's incredible. I think it's mind-boggling to think that somebody would attempt that in a game, but if there's one guy that can do it, I mean, if you had Obi Toppin do that dunk in a live game 100 times, he'd probably make it 98,
Boy,
honestly.
Can you imagine if he'd have missed that?
I love, though, that clearly that was in the back of his mind. This is a team that gave up on him, right? They gave Obi up for 2 second-round picks. I mean,
right.
They didn't pick up his option or anything like that. That had to feel amazing, didn't it?
You know what they did is
like even the Garden crowd audibly reacted, where
right.
you're like, whoa.
You know what they did? They went up 5 letters. Right?
What are we talking?
Obi Toppin. They just went up 5 letters.
Obi.
5 letters.
Top. I'm not.
They went from OB to OG, right? They said Obi Toppin gone, and then they said we have a void.
Oh.
They went out and they went from OB to OG.
But it's OBI.
But his name's pronounced Obi.
Yeah.
It's OG. OG Anunoby. OG's not really his name. I mean, there's a longer name to that.
The good thing about this show is that I always kind of feel like it's a little bit of a dry run for your radio show, so don't use that on.
No, this is on my radio show's over at 3. This is on at 7:30.
Yeah, but don't use that one on the radio show. That was reaching. I had. If you have to think about it, then it's not a good joke.
Well, it's not supposed to be a joke. It's a fact. But you actually, there are a lot of times, more often than not, that you say to yourself, "That's actually a really good point," and then you usually will text me and say, "You should say that on the radio show." More often than not, I think there are probably 3 to 4 times a week that you go to bed at night and you're like, I wish I'd thought of that.
What I don't like is when random people or even my family members will tell me, Jake said this and it was really great. And I'm like, well, why don't you just tell him then? Why are you telling me? Like, I don't care.
Who
I didn't say that.
You haven't passed those messages along.
I can't think of any specific example, but it happens far too often. We come back on the show, more on the refs in the last 2-minute report. We have our Hoagie and Hero of the week to get to. I mean, I decided that we were going to basically dedicate this show to the Pacers. I mean, do you want to talk, hey, Anthony Richardson looks great, and Pat, okay, he's out there, he's throwing, and they're excited about him. Great. It's May 7th. We don't need to talk about, I'd say Pacers basketball in the playoffs, Indy 500.
Pacers and
Colts
Racers,
are
right?
Colts are like right down here. Like we don't have to shoehorn in the Colts on every show. So I thought we'd keep it more basketball-centric when we return.
By the way, in terms of the Indy 500,
yeah,
I don't know how good the aerodynamics are going to be for Penske Racing, but apparently they have strong suspension.
Better. You can use that one on the show.
Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
Better. We'll come back with more zingers like that one here on Query and Schultz.
People are
ISC
excited
Sports
for that.
Network.
Kids love it.
Tonight.
You know we cover all sports in Central Indiana. Hop in. It's going to be a long night.
Bailey & Wood Mortgage Lender, proud partner of News 8 Sports Hummer.
Indiana dairy farmers provide us with safe, pure foods for our tables. A responsibility that takes intuition, resolve, and determination to make sure their milk is good for you and delicious to taste. Their connection with our community runs deep, passed down through the generations, ensuring that milk is always available at your store. It's not easy being a dairy farmer, but the rewards have special meaning when you can feed Indiana's families every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgages and a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back. Bailey and Wood presents Query and Schultz, ISC Sports Network, alongside Jay Query. I'm Derek Schultz. Pacers down 0-1. We'll keep talking about that. Let's talk about B and Dub. 855-350-HOME.
That's Bailey and Wood, right?
B and Dub. Actually,
say
I guess I
Bailey
should
and
say
Wood.
Bailey and Wood, yeah. BAWFG.com. Ball Field Goal. BAWFG.com, if you want to remember it. For Bailey and Wood Financial Group, 5-star customer service, 18 Indiana branch
Listen,
locations.
Bailey and Wood's been really, really good to us.
Yeah.
Right? Very loyal to us.
Look at this. Yeah,
They-
this is nice.
I mean, they're fabulous. They're the
love
best.
the bright orange.
But the belief they have in us, the invitation for the golf outing,
Yeah,
all of that,
coming up. That's like 3 months away.
Derek, I actually have swung a golf club since,
Oh, are you going to play in it?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Should auction it off.
What's that?
Auction it off.
Auction what off?
Playing in a foursome with you.
I mean, I don't know. Would it be weird when your dad wins that?
Oh, yeah, well, he's got a bulky knee. He's retired from golfing.
But
he would love to
regardless,
golf with you, though.
And he would be fun to golf with.
Mm-hmm.
My point being, Bailey and Wood deserves better from us in terms of our delivery of their pitch than you like. Yeah, Bailey and Wood, BAW.
Oh, I had excitement.
BAWFG.com for Bailey and Wood, which is dedicated to making sure that you are getting the best mortgage rate, keeping you in your home, or helping you get that dream home, and keeping the money right here in Central Indiana and giving back to a number of different charities, which is one of the things that they do from their fabulous golf outing, which is one of the crown jewel events throughout the summer months here in Central Indiana. 855-350-HOME is the telephone number. See, that's how you do that.
Perfect. And we appreciate them being presenting sponsor of the show. Can we talk about some of the good things that happened last night? Because I do want to talk about that. First, let me say this, and I know that they lost the game. That was as fun as I've had just as an observer of watching a Pacers basketball game in 10 years.
I would agree with that.
I mean, I love the atmosphere. I love the stage.
Can the Oregon guy at Madison Square Garden get like a second song?
No.
Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun,
That's all you do there. In fact, it's, you know what? It's not even an Oregon guy anymore. It's AI.
Is it really?
No, I have no idea.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Surprised at all.
It's a soundtrack.
If that's what
It's
ended up happening.
the same hits for 30 years.
They played the Pacers for 46 minutes of that game. Really kind of owned the moment, I thought. We talked about, well, this is a young team. They're not ready to play meaningful games. Well, there was only one person that looked like he wasn't ready to play a meaningful game. Everybody else looked like they brought it, especially the bench. First half is the exact blueprint that the Pacers need to follow, right? Don't get killed on the glass. Not only did they not get killed on the glass, they held their own on the glass. And find a way for the bench to wear them out with your depth. And one thing that I don't think is going to be a thing that people talked about a lot was, like, I heard people being like, look at Josh Hart. He's so gassed. He's out of wind. Guys, Josh Hart plays 85 minutes every single night and still makes plays down. The entire Philly series was like this. And you keep thinking that the Knicks are going to get gassed. They don't gas.
Right.
It
is amazing.
The tanks are never on empty. Like Brunson and DiVincenzo and Hart, they play 185 minutes per game, and they flourish. This is just how the Knicks are. They're not a normal basketball team. But the Pacers have to lean into the fact that they can get outside contributions that the Knicks can't get. Like, even the guys that they bring off the bench, McBride and Robinson, they don't provide scoring. Their scoring is their starting lineup.
Derek, last night, the Pacers in game one, their bench had 46 points.
Yeah.
The Knicks bench had like 23 minutes.
Yeah, they had
Total.
double the amount of
Total.
points that the Knicks had minutes. Yeah.
Total.
Yeah.
And they still lost.
Well, that's the glass half empty. The glass half full to me is that the Pacers did some things last night that I think are, scoring 46 points is not a fluke. This is a really good bench unit, right? TJ McConnell, he was terrible in the first 5 games of the Bucks series, and ever since then he's been great. You could see last night the Pacers' path to victory in this series. This is not a one-sided series. If you want to lean towards the Knicks, that's fine. The Knicks are a good team, but I don't view them as like a level above the Pacers or anything like. And I'm not saying that because we're sitting here in Indianapolis. If anyone can kind of be a neutral observer to this series, I guess it's me, right? Because I kind of have my feet in both camps with where my old leanings were and where I am now.
Somebody today, Derek, I wanted you to comment on this.
Somebody told me I needed to recuse myself from talking about the series last night.
I got this one earlier. Somebody said this to me, and I wanted you to comment on this.
Okay.
I quit listening to Query a long time ago because he's a Pacers hater.
I never got that from you.
Would you like to expand on that?
In the however many years, 12, 13 years that we've been together, and I think we're both straight shooters because we're not emotionally – I mean, do I want to see the Pacers and Colts do well? Of course I do. But, like, I'm not losing sleep over losses. I would say that you've been far often more critical of the Colts than the Pacers.
Yeah.
Like, if I were to say that you were a hater of a team, which I don't think you're a hater of either team, I would lean more towards the Colts. You've been a pretty harsh critic, I think, of the Colts.
Yeah,
Pacers,
fair.
I think you've been – not that you haven't been fair. I mean, sometimes the Colts in the last 10 years certainly have deserved a lot of harsh criticism.
Well, it's hard to fit it in with all my IU and Purdue hater time.
Well, this is just what you get when you're a prominent figure and people go to you to see what you have to think about sports. If they don't like what you have to say, they're going to come for you. That's how it is. Mm-hmm. And so people do that.
All that's true, but the prominent part.
Well, like, look, I know you're casting the reel out there and fishing. You've been a prominent voice for a long time. And that's why all these people that say, I don't listen to you, I can't stand you, are the same ones that keep commenting every year. And you're like, didn't you criticize me for,
that is true.
The Carson Wentz trade? And did you criticize me for Paul George and Victor Oladipo? You know what I mean? And
right.
It's the same
that
people.
Part is true.
It's the same people over and over again. But, yeah, I just think there were things that the Pacers did last night, particularly in the first half, that I think they can follow that blueprint and win. And the Knicks aren't always going to get an A-plus game from Brunson and then B-plus, A-minus games from Hart and DiVincenzo. Right. All three of those guys were great last night, and they needed all of it. They needed every bit of it. What's frustrating is that the Pacers controlled that game. I mean, every time the Knicks got closer, they pushed it back to 5, 6, 7 points. And when it slipped it, even the last sequence, the Haliburton turnovers, remember, the Knicks go back up 2, and everybody's saying, it's over, game one's over. Pacers came back and took the lead. They scored 6 straight. They were up 2. The referees got in the way. I'm not going to excuse the referees, but Pacers had it. And if they lose this series, God forbid they go back to the Garden and lose this series in 7 games, I think this is the one that we're going to talk about that got away.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Now, Derek, you were calling me prominent, which makes me you might actually be like, that's a heroic thing for you. You're like my hero by admitting that.
Oh, thanks. I just, we're best buds.
Yeah, no, hardly. Yeah, okay. That takes us, by the way, to our hero of the week, right? Which is not you.
Hoagie and hero of the week. It's brought to you by our
what
friends
sandwich do you have here?
Knox.
Because it looks too good for me to just
I
sit
have, and Ray, I'm going to give Ray credit for this. I can't steal it. This was not my – Market Street was next up. And he goes, oh, did you do Market Street for Market Square Arena? Knicks Pacers, right? That's what you kind of think of. And I'm just going to say yes, even though that was not the intention. Really good Sando here. What I have is some D&W Turk, some B&W ham. We've got house slaw, house-made slaw, Thousand Island, Munster cheese. It's tangy, and then the slaw, and it's a really nice combo. Really nice combo.
The cheese is amazing. The cheese is fantastic.
Munster cheese is really good.
Derek. Now, to go along with that, our friends at Chili Water, which is right next to Hoagies and Hops, by the way, is it 47th and Boulevard?
42nd.
42nd and Boulevard.
47th, you're basically at Butler.
42nd and Boulevard, sorry. This is the Mama Tried, the dark Mexican lager from our friends at Chili Water, and we've had this once before, right?
We have. I mean, we're at the point now where we have a beer every week. So we've been able, I took a swallow too quickly.
That's tremendous.
And now I'm having trouble breathing.
Now that is smooth.
It's a dark Mexican lager,
Smooth.
right? But it's not heavy.
Very smooth.
It's not heavy. So, I think of the Mexican lagers I think of as like summer beers. And a lot of people don't think of dark beers as summer beers, right? Dark beer, you think of like the winter months. Like you think of like stout and Guinness and things like that, porters. This is a great summer. This is a sit out on your porch. It's 80 degrees on a nice night kind of beer.
Definitely. Wonderful.
Yeah. This is up there for one of my favorites.
Did you go, speaking of sit out on the porch, did you go meet Matthew again after the mini?
I did.
Which we did last year.
And Gritty,
Hops, right?
Jennifer, we had Mexican food down on the south side and hung out.
Thanks for the invite.
I didn't think you'd want to go after the mini. Usually you shut your phone off.
No.
After the mini.
That's what you think.
I didn't think that you'd do anything. But, yeah, it was great to see Matthew and Gritty. If they're watching right now, I'd never met Jennifer before, whereas, we have a long relationship with Matthew. And she brought a coloring book for James. James went, too, because Ashley was working, and we were leaving. We left directly from a Little League game, and it was a lot of fun. It's good. We've made a lot of I'm not going to get all sentimental here, but a lot of meaningful friendships and relationships from the show,
Right.
and from people watching this dumb thing that we do every single week. But Ashley thinks it's weird, but I think it's actually the coolest part about it. Like you and I don't have a lot of similarities, but where you and I are absolutely similar is that I love people. Like I love hearing people's stories. I love hearing their backgrounds.
We like all people but each other.
Well, yeah. I just love to hang. I love to sit and shoot the breeze and eat good food with people that I like. And that was the case.
And drink
on Saturday. And delicious
Mexican
beer
lager
as well. Keeping it Pacers themed because the last show, and this just shows how much can change in a week. I mean, we kind of went after TJ McConnell, right? First 5 games. Last show, if I remember right, was after Game 5. And McConnell was not good in Game 5 against the Bucks. He was nails in the clincher in Game 6, was fantastic. Caused Pat Bev a lot of problems to the point where he's throwing basketballs at people. And he was fantastic last night. There is, I'm assuming, nothing more satisfying for a Pacer fan than to hear the collective groan from Garden fans. And there were a couple of audible, when McConnell was just going right to the hoop, right? Little layups, little floaters, and things like that. And you're like, this guy? Somebody in my mention said that he looks like an Arby's manager.
Totally.
And he was cooking the Knicks last night. And he's just been so critically important to the Pacers' success. I mean, here was a guy that came in during a really forgettable era of Pacers basketball, right? Like starting in the bubble season through Nate Bjorkgren, through the early rebuild. I mean, 21, 22, like those were not good Pacer seasons, right? And here he is coming out on the other side. We never thought that TJ McConnell was going to be here for more than like a cup of coffee. And now he's he really is one of your most important players. Like, not only does he have a role, he has a prominent role. And it says a lot about McConnell because he hasn't been handed anything. He's just gone out and taken it.
He either drives to the basket, finds an opening and makes a perfect pass, or he loops around and then pulls up from like 8 feet, and then he steals the inbound pass.
And he just never stops. Energizer Bunny type stuff. But he's the guy, and it's hard in the moment, right, to say these things. He's the guy that in 2040, people will remember TJ McConnell and bring up, hey, remember? Like, so he was a really fun player. I really liked watching him. Like,
you know why?
You wouldn't say that about other prominent Pacers players.
Part of the reason why they'll remember him?
Why's that?
Because he's going to be working in the front office.
You think so?
Yeah.
Did you get that from inside knowledge?
I don't think.
I didn't know if somebody had said that.
No, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's been not like factually right, but like I think it's definitely been mentioned of like, hey, we would love to have him around even beyond his playing career, assistant coach or something,
If he wants to, I mean, what a career! He's made a really fabulous career for himself.
He's neighbors with a buddy of ours.
Midtown?
No.
Is he up in Carmel?
Yeah.
A lot of the players up in Carmel, right?
PTP. That's my understanding. Pete the Planner.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they hang.
Huh. I got an old neighbor who is in Pittsburgh, and apparently they ran together. Because, McConnell's a Pittsburgh Duquesne guy.
You're right, yeah.
And then ended up at Arizona. And he talks a lot about him.
His dad was a coach, right?
At Duquesne?
No, I think his dad was a high school coach.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Duquesne, I like to refer to as Duquesne.
Yeah, that's how my wife says it.
Really?
Yeah, when we went to Pittsburgh, she can't say Duquesne or
Did you go to the
Trafalgar.
Duquesne campus?
Yeah, we were on Pitt's campus. I don't think we were actually on
How was
Duquesne's.
Pitt's campus?
Fine.
IUPUI?
Well, no, I mean, I would say it was kind of a little more old school, and IUPUI, and this will change now with this split. Thanks so much for saying that because of Purdue's. People know what my day job is, but it had a little more Jesuit campusness.
Pitt?
I thought it had some like older buildings and like it reminded me of like a Catholic school. Even though I don't.
But did you
is
like
Pitt
this?
actually a Catholic? I don't think it is, right?
It's a public university.
It
right?
is? Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the University of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That's kind of stupid to say that University of Pittsburgh private. Yeah,
Now, did you enjoy the city of Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Pittsburgh, the reason why Pittsburgh's so cool to me is that it is a mix of old school and new school. Like you can see even the new on top of the old.
A public state-related research university in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
I couldn't believe, in my defense, you know how many people that are outside of Indiana that think Purdue is like a private whatever? Like my friends back east are like, they don't know that it's a land grant,
Do they know
public
it's in Indiana?
University. I think at this point they do.
What's when it comes to Purdue, what is the most commonly misassumed location? People that don't know it's in Indiana think Purdue is where?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I just think that a lot of people don't know it's in Indiana.
Like near Chicago, I would see that, you know what I mean?
Probably that's somewhere in the Midwest. But the thing is, Jake, like people out there, like they think Indiana is Nebraska. Like they have no concept of. Yeah.
By the way, you haven't named our hero of the week.
Yeah, McConnell.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well,
McConnell.
because you mentioned Nebraska, which leads to, our friend Brooke from the American Dairy Association of Indiana.
We can do that next.
She's Nebraska native.
That's right.
And it's that time of year, Derek. I'm getting fired up for it.
Yeah, 500 Grand Prix coming
I've got
up.
to carry you again while we
Track
MC
activity.
the fastest rookie luncheon.
You get all nervous. Do you think? Wait, do you want to start or do you want me to start? I don't know, man. This is year 5. Like we've done this. It's the same exact show every time.
But
I don't know why it's clearly not an act, right? You must. I don't know why you would do, because it's just you and me back there. Like no one else sees this. But I don't know why you get the way that you get. Like public speaking is a little bit unnerving for anybody, even the most gifted public speaker. But like the way that you are about it, it's like my God. Because then the lights are on and you get up there and it's like nothing phases you.
I don't.
You're so good at it.
No,
you're so good at it. You really are. You know me. I don't free willingly. This has been kind of a lovey-dovey show. I've been real complimentary. I'm not usually like that. It is
like I already my sleep pattern is starting to go like this because less and less sleep leading up to that, knowing that I've got to do it.
It's dairy farmers. They're salt of the earth. They're all really cool people. The Dairy Association people think that we walk on water. I mean, they Jenny and Brooke and Sally and everybody, they love us.
No.
So it's a very comfortable
First off, they
setting.
think we walk on milk. And secondly,
fair.
there are very important people in that audience.
Oh, no, I don't disagree, but there are people. They're not like I would hate to do something like that where it was an audience of 17-year-old kids. Because they're like, who's this guy? He's short. Why are his arms so big? Stuff like that. This is a much more comfortable audience. Are they?
Derek, try not to look constipated. You do that again and you're biting your lip.
I'm just showing
Brooke
my arms.
actually said to me, she's like, next time you guys do the American Dairy Association, can Derek not flex?
See?
You look ridiculous. By the way, Derek does not exercise. Don't kid yourself. But I do, for example. I did the mini marathon, as we mentioned, on Saturday along with Matthew. And afterwards, what better way to refresh than with ice-cold chocolate milk? Chocolate milk is a perfect post-workout beverage. Why, you ask? Well, because not only is it refreshing and it tastes fabulous, but it has the same amount of vitamin A as 2 cups of spinach. It has the same amount of protein as
hard-boiled egg.
Correct, hard-boiled eggs. Mm-hmm. And it has the same amount of potassium as a banana. So everything that you need right there in your post-drink out work. And, of course, milk, it does a body good, right? Time for our Winner's Drink Milk Winner of the Week. And, again, It is the greatest tradition of sports. It's the month of May. You will be seeing milk in Victory Lane once again for the 108th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. Should Joseph Newgarden win the race, he will not be sharing the bottle with a couple of guys. We'll get to that in a minute. That is big news. But, Derek, our Winners Drink Milk winner of the week is?
Sharing it. We had not one, two fantastic finishes in races over the weekend. Kentucky Derby had a three-way photo finish for the first time since the 1940s.
Sally of the ADA, huge horse racing.
Oh, I didn't know that. Mystic Dan, 18-1 shot, ended up winning, followed by Sierra Leone and Forever Young. Just an incredible finish, incredible pictures, photography, to see how close it was. I mean, you think no one's going to remember Sierra Leone, right? I mean, you're immortality. That's how you're a nostril hair away from immortality. And then I really don't follow NASCAR that much anymore. It feels like they've had some really great races this year,
and
including
they've had kind
in
of a
Kansas,
resurgence here for sure.
where Kyle Larson won the closest finish in Cup history, 0.001 seconds. Another photo finish at Kansas Speedway. So, that is. I mean, I want to keep it positive because it's the month of May, and we're excited about the month of May. But NASCAR and some of these other racing series, the arrow is pointing up, and I think IndyCar, it is pointing up, but it's more pointing up like this, whereas every other motor series is straight up into the air, and you wish that IndyCar could kind of get on a more straight trajectory, but we'll see. Again, month of May is great. We know what the month of May is going to be, but for the series itself, I'm a little bit disappointed that it's not riding a bigger wave of momentum right now.
I understand. Part of the and congratulations, by the way, to our Winners Drink Milk winner of the week, and to whoever the rookie may be. It may well be Kyle Larson. That's the fastest rookie qualifier that we will be toasting at the fastest rookie luncheon coming up.
How cool would that be?
A couple of weeks from now. Yeah.
I mean, we'll see him regardless, right? Because the rookies always come to the fastest rookie luncheon.
Derek, the reality is, the other side, the big story in IndyCar is the suspensions of Tim Cindric, notably, who is the team president for Penske and also is the race strategist for Joseph Newgarden, and then a number of three different engineers and data telemetry observers for Joseph Newgarden's team that will now be suspended for 2 races. That news coming out from Team Penske. Those 2 races would be the GP coming up here in May, and then, of course, the Indianapolis 500-mile race. So Tim Cindric, who Pike graduate, Rose-Hulman guy, love him. I mean, he's a great dude. But with this scandal with Joseph Newgarden and the push to pass, I don't know, and I truly do believe this. I still believe. I don't think that it was necessary, like intentionally nefarious in terms of what took place. Mm-hmm. But I think that Roger Penske, the company, and the Penske perfect mantra is that all I's are dotted and all T's are crossed and no single thing goes unchecked. And in this circumstance, at the very least, what we know is that some things went unchecked that allowed for Joseph Newgarden to have the push to pass in St. Petersburg that caused him to have to relinquish his victory. And as a result of that, I had somebody tell me earlier this week within the team, they said, look, if there is accountability to be had, it will be had. We are still looking at all of this. And I think they looked over it and said, at the very least, we had people that should have been on top of this and were not. And therefore, they're suspended.
It's embarrassing.
It is that.
It's embarrassing for Roger Penske. He runs the series to have his team get caught with their pants down, really. Whether it was nefarious or not, it's embarrassing, right? Because I don't believe it was nefarious either. I just don't. I don't buy it. But there are some fans that think that it is, and that's a bad look for Team Penske. So I think they're doing the right thing. I mean, this is a really harsh punishment. When you miss May, I think you ask most people what race they would rather miss the other, whatever it is, 16, 17 races on the schedule than miss the 2 ones in Indy, especially the big one in the 500. So I'm glad that they stepped in and they did this, and I think it sends the message that they're taking it seriously, which is the message that needed to be sent.
Now, I'm not here to carry anybody's water. I don't know this. I'm going by what I'm told, okay? But I've known Joseph Newgarden for a long time. I mean, I I was doing Indy Lights races, as it was known then, when Newgarden first came into the series, and did a lot of things with him and have known him really all the way through, right? And I think Joseph Newgarden has been really upset by all of this. I don't think –
Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that – and I don't mean upset because he got caught. I think Joseph Newgarden, again – was he pushing the button? I will tell you this. I've talked to, and I'm not excusing any of it, but I've talked to a number of different drivers who privately have said to me, on a restart, I'm pushing that button the entire time.
Yeah.
Just in case all of a sudden, like, I didn't.
It turns on. Yeah,
Correct.
right, yeah.
And Newgarden was doing that, and it worked, and so, boom. He just assumed, they must have these things
I
on.
don't think he's a bad guy, and I don't think he likes being viewed as a bad guy. So I don't blame him for feeling that way. We got to get to a timeout. We come back. We got quick hits to get to, and we got to get caught up on breaks because Jake was supposed to break before we got into the milk. But what are you going to do? It's not like he's a 20-year radio professional. It's Corey and Schultz.
Just talked about how great I am emceeing
ISC
stuff.
Sports Network. Well, I take it back.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do, from Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
At Bailey & Wood, we pride ourselves on our 5-star customer service. But at our core, we're a family. Family owned, and family to our customers, staff, and our community. From charity events to recognizing hometown heroes, we prioritize giving back to our communities that have always supported our growth. So let us help you get your dream home today.
We're back where Derek sat there and begged two things during the break. Number one, he was begging to be able to take it out of the break, and then he took a bite of his sandwich and had a mouthful of food. And then second, it appeared, and fortunately the commercial break expedited getting out of this conversation, but it sounded like you were begging for me to take you to the Pacer game.
I was asking how the playoff ticket setup is. I wasn't trying to get.
So are you taking anybody to the game? You got anybody you're going with? You been talking to anybody about going? You got an extra one?
I ask you that all the time, and then you always say yes, Stephen Holder. And
I took Michael from the Elect last game for a game 6 against the Bucks. It was fabulous. Had a wonderful time.
Yeah. Well, wish you'd ask me once in a while to go to a game. I'm not expecting to go to a Pacers, and you probably wouldn't want to sit next to me during a Pacers-Knicks game anyway because you see right through me. You know what my old brain leanings are.
Old habits die hard.
I'll tell you this. As much as I have, and I really have, like I'm not invested. I don't follow them really, the Knicks, and I really don't.
But it does. It does kind of take you back. Doesn't
you
it?
hear the organ and you hear the crowd, and there's just something that's it's a small part of me now, but it does kind of reignite those memories and things like that. And you see, like, you know, all of these heroes in the crowd, like John Starks and Marcus Camby and Latrell Sprewell and Larry Johnson. Like not only
Stephon Marbury.
Yeah, Stephon Marbury. Not only some of the true Knicks legends, but some of the greatest players to ever play basketball. And you see that, and
which of those?
It kind of
Marcus
reignites
Camby?
those old feelings. Yeah, Marcus Camby, great player, elite defender.
Okay.
Yeah,
good college player.
Really good player at UMass, yeah.
Stephon Marbury.
So should be a Hall of Famer.
Total flame-out bust.
Should be a Hall of Famer.
Total Nick flame-out.
Should be a Hall of Famer, especially with what he did in China. He dominated that league.
No, it's China.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dominated that league as well. Let's get to Buy or Bull Bleep. Brought to you by our friends at Chateau Kitchens. I need to get the after pictures because the after is done. My basement's done.
Oh, really?
And I forgot. I think I was going to bring them this week. I don't know. We'll wait maybe for another couple of weeks. Maybe we'll wait post 500 when things start to slow down a little bit. We could spend more time on the basement and all of that because we're spending a lot of time down in the basement. But whether you're looking to remodel your kitchen,
is the toilet still there?
Your bathroom, no, that's long gone. Anything on the interior of your home, you can call our friends at Chateau Kitchens or visit them at chateaukitchens.com. And you don't even need to take my word for it. Before and after pictures on Instagram and Facebook at Chateau Kitchens, and you can see some of their transformations. They are truly incredible.
Do you have a couch down in the basement?
Yeah, it's one of those love sacks because the opening for the basement is so small. Like, we hadn't bought the love sack yet. Well, I mean, there's kind of a love sack, but it's right over in here. And the opening for the basement is so small that we couldn't actually get a couch down there.
Why are you standing in your basement with no shirt on?
Well, that's what I did when we redid the bathroom. And folks liked it so much. In fact, some of them really liked it that we decided to come back with another picture.
No one likes either of these images.
There we go. Perfect.
No.
Oh, God. No,
Yes, thank you.
That's not in the rotation.
Yes, yes.
No, we don't like that one.
Perfect. By the way, I'm happy to say the owl's flown away.
Good. Hope he never comes back. Hope he flies directly into the sun.
Beautiful that photo is.
And burns up.
Just gorgeous.
I can't even tell you, if I encountered that, I can't even. I might die from shock.
Let me tell you what
I
would
die on the spot.
You know what I would die from shock if I encountered it?
What? Me? You've seen me in a towel before.
No, I have not.
We stayed at a Howard Johnson's in San Antonio.
I was
went
asleep
on
the
umpteen
floor.
trips. We shared hotel rooms.
Well, you weren't parading around like that.
Well, I wasn't in the nude, but I had.
Do you not have? By the way, do you remember?
Towels?
Do you remember we did the show from Ball State?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, in Ball State, and I don't want to say I think I remember the name of the company. I don't want to say it wrong because I don't want to disparage a sponsor for Ball State, but because they were kind enough to have us out. But Ball State had a sponsor, an active sponsor in that game.
Manscaped.
Yeah. Can we get them to send you product, for crying out loud?
Well, I do. All of this is Manscaped, and then up top, the middle, the living room, I leave pretty much undone. But the basement and the attic, I'd take care of and get that all shipshape.
The living room is in desperate need of attention.
I don't actually think so. I think it's actually yeah, there we go. Look at that. Drink that in. Oh boy. That is impressive, isn't it? It goes all the way across. People really like that. What were we talking about? We were talking about Chateau, right? And Bider Bobley. People really like the work of Chateau Kitchens, the chest hair of home remodeling. Statement one, the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to win the whole damn thing. Bider Bobley.
I'll buy it, man. They got a guy.
I mean, today on, what is today, May 7th? If you were a betting man, right? I mean, it's them or the Thunder or the Celtics because they're up 1-0 on Denver, right? And they stole home court advantage away. So I don't want to overreact, but the way that they're defending right now, like it's not just that Minnesota is winning. They are disemboweling
Are you
their opponents.
You're dismissing Dallas?
Yeah, I don't think they're – yeah.
Okay.
The only team to me in the East that can win it all is Boston.
I would agree with that.
But of the teams remaining, I would probably go Celtics because they have an easier path. I'm going to say Bull Bleep because the Celtics still have the easiest path. I would say Celtics 1, T-Wolves 2. I think the Denver-Minnesota winner is going to come out. Oklahoma City 4, and then I think there's a gap between you start talking about the next teams. Then probably Dallas, New York, Indiana, Cleveland.
Minnesota, though, they've got right now the best takeover guy in the league.
Yeah, I mean, he's been incredible, and there were, I know he was the number one pick. There were real questions about Anthony Edwards coming out of the draft. Like, is this guy just a gunner that's going to shoot 40 times a game and whatever? And he's really elevated into becoming one of the 4 or 5 best players in the world right now.
No question.
And it's, again, not to make everything about Haliburton, but it adds to the frustration, doesn't it? That you see all these other guys that are kind of rising to the occasion, and Haliburton, if anything, is kind of slinking away, and that's hurt or not. That's disappointing. Statement 2, Rick Carlisle deserves more credit than he gets. Bider Bobley.
I mean, I think he deserves credit, but hey, look, I mean, he just won his first playoff series in 10 years. Right?
I'm talking nationally, though. I think.
Yeah, no. He's obviously an upper level coach. No
I
question.
saw some tweets last night that were like, wow, basically insinuating I didn't know the Pacers were this good.
Right.
You know, look at how they share the ball, or look at how their bench plays, or look at the attitude and the energy and whatever else. I do think Carlisle deserves credit for that. He deserves criticism.
You know who deserves some credit too?
His decision making is not infallible.
Jenny Boychuk is their defensive coach.
Yeah,
and their defense has really come around.
It has.
She's done a nice job.
Yeah, the wheels fell off the car late defensively, but overall, I thought they defended well enough to win last night.
Right.
Overall, over the course of the game. That's good milk. Statement 3. IndyCar could use a great month of May. Buy or bull bleep.
Oh, for sure. Buy that 100%.
Yeah, why would you say bull bleep to that?
Right.
But every month of May is a great month of May.
It is.
I heard they were, 15,000 ahead for tickets of last year?
I went yesterday to buy grandstand seats and slim pickings.
That's what it has to
Close
be,
to a
though, right?
sellout.
They have to sell out all of the seats.
They're close. Please still listen to the race on the radio, but they're close.
But that's how can I ask you honestly, do you root for it not to sell out? People are going to listen to the radio regardless.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like the blackout because of tradition, not because of the radio network. But, yeah, listen, if it's going to sell out, I'm all for it, right?
Yeah, I just think, and I say this just factually, as somebody that deeply, deeply loves the 500 and loves what it represents, the people that go all the time are incredulous that somebody wouldn't go to that race, right? But it really is. It's the biggest hassle in the world to attend that thing.
But it's worth every second of it.
Oh, 100% it is. But it is literally the biggest hassle in the world to attend that event.
This year, this is when I start getting the text, and I appreciate it. But, hey, I'm thinking about going to the race for the first time. Somebody sent me one yesterday, and I called him. We got a kick out of it. But, hey, I'm from Fishers. My daughter is interested in the race because she watches the Netflix show about F1. So we're thinking about we got tickets. We're excited. Just curious, where do I park and what time do I leave the house? I'm like, there are no given answers on either of those two things, but early and wherever.
I'm trying to think, there was a side street north of the Coke lot called Beauport where it's no tow, and I used to park there and walk 3 miles. That's what I used to do. When I stopped the campouts, when I stopped the Coke lot campouts. Thanks to our great sponsors, Chateau Kitchens, Bailey and Wood Financial Group, our friends at Hoagies and Hops and the Chili Water Tap Room. Can't forget our friends at the American Dairy Association Indiana. Winners Drink Milk, of course. Love Heating and Cooling. And did I get everybody?
I think so.
I think I did. For Jake, I'm Derek. We'll see you next time. Hopefully with the Pacers ahead in the series here on Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
Which games are we going to tonight?
You know we cover all sports in Central Indiana. Hop in. It's going to be a long night.
Bailey and Wood Mortgage Lender, proud partner of News 8 Sports Hummer.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do. From Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgages and a snap! Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do. From Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
At Bailey and Wood, we pride ourselves on our 5-star customer service. But at our core, we're a family. Family owned and family to our customers, staff, and our community. From charity events to recognizing hometown heroes, we prioritize giving back to our communities that have always supported our growth. So let us help you get your dream home today.